I mean, probably the first one that comes out to me is the first time I ever recorded. I had a band in high school. We put together this band in high school, me and my cousin. I just started asking questions like, okay, we got a band, now what do we do? And I think I met Raheem Devon first in Baltimore. He said, well, you gotta have an album, you know? So I got my musicians together, you know, in my auntie's basement, and we just started rehearsing. So I found a studio, it was like $35 an hour. You know, we probably only had like $200-300 for the whole album, you know. I got a little job. So we just had to like rehearse real hard because we couldn't do any double takes. Like we had to record the whole album. You know what I mean? I think we might have had like two times to go through the whole album, like every song on the album. So a lot of the recordings from that album are reference vocals because we're all in the same room at the same time. Because we just didn't know enough about recording to know to like separate everybody. So most of us are on the same track, you know, like mixing was insane. We just didn't know anything about it. But that was like our first experience. Like we didn't know how to record, but we got it done. And we put an album out, like 11 or 12 songs on that first project with a really long name called Subversive Activity. We didn't have any branding or marketing managers then. And then I think later on, I started to learn how to record. I remember being in the studio with James Poyser. He was probably the first person that really taught me like how to stack vocals correctly, you know, how to just manipulate my voice in different ways to get different types of sounds out of it for different styles of songs, you know. And that was really incredible, you know, to just even be able to be guided like that by him. And I recorded a lot with The Roots and with Common and Cody Chestnut and Martin Luther and a lot of different other people who really helped to develop my like in studio, you know, skills. And then actually Zap Mama, like performing with Zap Mama, learning the polyrhythms of the Pygmies in the Congo. Like that then changed also how I manipulated my voice in the studio, you know, touring with her. Yeah, I always pray before I record or before I perform or anything really. It depends, the lights could be dim, depends on the song. Yeah, a lot of times I'll just get in there and like freestyle first so I can get the vibe out. Cause sometimes I can overthink it and it'll kill the vibe. So like the vibe is most important. You know, my brother, he's the one who really, my older brother, he taught me to rhyme and he really taught me so much about hip hop. And I was such a like an intellectual, you know, as a kid. Like he would always be like, don't overthink it. Like that word should never go in a rap verse. Like that don't even sound fly. You can never make that word fly. So, you know, he would always kind of talk to me about how important the vibe was because people gonna feel the vibe before they even understand what you're saying or doing. I mean, that's why like hip hop can translate, you know, throughout the world, even to people who don't understand the language. You know, even if they don't understand the slang, you know what I mean? Not just English, but the slang that's being used, but they can feel the vibration. They feel the way you approaching it, your conviction when you say it. That really translates. So he will always try and press upon me, like, get the vibe right first. And then you fit the words into the vibe, you know? And that really just takes a certain skill set to be able to have the vibe correct and to also have it be, have the content be purposeful, impactful, you know, have it really have some content. Is really a challenge, but I really try to, because there have been times when I didn't have any intention and I'll just listen to something and I'll freestyle and everything will come out. That's why I know it's not me. That's why I say I pray before it. Because to be inspired is to be in spirit, right? The best things I ever wrote were things that I ain't write. You get what I'm saying? Like, they flowed out. So I know it ain't come from me because I wasn't even thinking about that when it happened. And I'm like, oh my God, this is hot. Uh-oh, it's happening, you know? So I just try to be in that flow. It really is a flow, you know what I mean? As Nicole Parker always say, stand in the flowing nectar. Like, it's this pouring that's happening. Either you're standing in the pouring or you're standing outside of the pouring. And we just try to stand in the pouring, you know what I mean? Then you catch the blessings. You can't even take credit for that, you know? I have to, you know, when I was younger, I used to always try to separate it. Because that's, when you get into business, you know, they want you to separate everything. So, because I grew up, you know, in prayer. Like, I grew up going to Sweat Lodge and Vision Quest and Sundance and even with some of the Shango Baptists and the Yoruba. So I've seen, you know, a lot. And so I grew up in prayer and in ceremony. And I think when I got into the business and I was like trying to separate myself from it and be like normal, and I was never normal. Like, I'm just not good at it. So I gave up on trying to be normal. I feel like it works out better, you know, when I'm just myself. But I have to be in prayer. Like, my life don't even work out when I'm not in prayer. I'm not consulting my higher power about the next move and the next step. Like, I don't even feel right And, you know, especially, you know, you on tour and you're interacting with so many people who are going through so much. And it's beautiful a lot of times that your music affects them, but it's also like, you know, you got to also be careful about the energy that you also allow in your space, your personal space, you know, and how that affects you, especially when like you're an empath and you take on a lot. It's important that you also have a process of releasing and going back to your center. So like spirituality is really important to me in my music and just in general in my daily life. You know, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. That's it, you know what I mean? So my friend Masego, he always laugh at me because he be like, yo, how you gonna be so spiritual and be so hood? Because I be like, yo, basically, you know what I'm saying? Need to get your mother effing spirit together, you know, praise God. But that's how I feel, like everything is like one. It's one thing to me. It's not, I feel like you fragment your mind, you know what I'm saying? When you separate everything into categories. Now I can be spiritual, and now I'm secular, and now I'm sexual, and now I'm, you know what I mean? Like you create schizophrenia in your mind when you don't let yourself be a whole person, because you are all of those things. You're not separate. You're not. You're one whole person who is a spiritual being and a sexual being and a human being, and, you know, all of those things, who has highs and lows. Sometimes you're your highest self, sometimes you're your lowest self, and we always working to find that middle ground. I always say, you know, I was raised by a gypsy and a kingpin, and it's true, because like I could be in Baltimore growing up with my dad, you know, counting money in the basement. You know, my dad was a hustler, you know, but then I'd be at ceremony with my mom, who also grew up in the projects, but she's just super spiritual. Like, she, you know what I mean? She's amazing, you know, she's in a room with therapists and she does Reiki and all this stuff, but she's definitely from Henry Horner Projects, you know what I'm saying? So all of those things, but she's a whole person, you know what I mean? So she can go on Vision Quest and she can talk to animal spirits, and she can also be from the projects, because that's just what it is, you know? So, yeah, come on, you tuned in.